any background noise, unless when we get to the Q&A, then we will be able to unmute and maybe ask questions or participate. But as we begin the presentation, I would request that we just mute in ourselves. If you're having a challenge in muting, let me know. I can assist you from this side. All right, and as we do that, I'm going to put on my slides. So tell me if you're able to see my slides. Let me share my screen. All right, anybody can see my slides? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can see my slides. Anybody was able to see my slides? Good. All right. So when I start sharing my screen, I would not be able to see your chats. So I would just be going back and forth, sharing slides and sharing that so that at least we can participate and interact. All right. So I stayed 6 minutes past. We are going to begin. And this is exactly 6 minutes past the hour. I don't want to take more of your Saturday than you should. So we're going to begin. So I'm going to share my slides right now, and then we will go ahead and start. All right. Okay. All right. So today we are going to be talking about mastering your plate and how to overcome emotional eating for lasting weight loss results. So before I can present anything, I want you to tell me, what is that one thing that you can think of that you may classify yourself as an emotional eater or not an emotional eater? So tell me, what is it? Tell me one thing that you think of that you can classify yourself as an emotional eater. Anyone? Anyone? So we're going to figure out, how do I know that I'm an emotional eater or I am not, and how I can learn my body to allow that not to happen, how I can overcome that. And we will see a little bit later in the presentation, what are the other things that we're going to learn. So welcome today. I'm so excited to have you here today, spending your Saturday with me. I am excited, I'm glad, and we're going to have some fun. Just be ready to participate, be ready to get one thing. If you don't get anything else, I just want you to pick at least one thing that you're going to make a change on today, so that we can be able to get results. So somebody says, if I'm too busy, I tend to forget my plate, and I will eat a lot better if I have some time to spare. All right, sounds good. All right, so here's what we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning, what is emotional eating? How do I understand that? How do I know when I'm entangled in emotional eating, and how can I overcome that? Because at the end of the day, we are looking to get results for our weight loss. And I want you to comment in the chat and tell me, how many kgs or pounds are you looking to lose? What's your goal? So tell me, and we'll look into that by the time we're finishing this. All right, so why is this important to you now? Well, if you're here, I want to understand, either you or someone you love is struggling to lose weight or keep a healthy lifestyle. So the question is, it is important because why wait? So I want to ask you that question. Why are you going to wait? Because the cost of you not taking any action is actually even more expensive than you taking the hardest of actions you might think you want to take. So the other thing is, you're very important. Your goals are valid. Losing, if you have a goal of trying to lose weight, that's important, because losing weight, the CDC says Just 5% loss of your weight will improve your blood pressure, circulation, will improve your sleeping patterns, will give you a better living lifestyle. That just 5% loss of your current body weight. So it matters, it is important to you, it matters to us. So you have an assignment to do that needs you healthy. So above everything else, God has created you for assignments. And if you're not the best you in terms of your health, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle to attain what is that assignment that God has given you, because your body is important. Your body is a channel. Your body is the instrument. It's the object. It's the tool that God will use to do his work. So if you're not as your best, you're going to find a lot of challenges and you're going to waste a lot of energy focusing on your health issues more than the assignments that you have, whether it's parenting, whether it's women's ministry, whether it's just going to your regular job to earn a living for your family. There's an assignment that you're supposed to do, and you need to be healthy for that assignment. So this is for you specifically. If you're tired of cycles of dieting, starvation, extreme exercise while you hate to do it. I don't like to exercise myself. Exercise is good, it's healthy, but it's extreme exercise and that intense kind of physical activity is not for everyone. If you're spending lots of cash in your wardrobe every time you have to go to the store and get some new wardrobe, like, you know, all the stores around your marketplace, and even the cashiers kind of know you and they know your size and they're trying to upgrade you every time that you go. So that's for you. If you relate to that, that's for you. If you're tired of avoiding gatherings, you want to go to church, but you go when already the pastor has prayed the opening prayer because you don't want to interact with people, or you leave 2 minutes before the prayer, the last prayer is done, because you're trying to avoid every interaction with your with people in church. You have a low self-esteem, you don't like the way you look. Before you even go to church, you spend like an hour just trying to go to the wardrobe and check, okay, which one do I wear today? You don't really want to wear anything because you don't like the way you feel, you don't like the way you look, and you're feeling defeated at all the time just because of your weight. And when you look at all these reasons, you find that your weight has a connection to all those feelings and the things that you're looking. You're feeling no energy to play. You can't even play with your kids. You have no time you're having a hard time waking up in the morning. You're having a hard time going to sleep at night, and you have no desire, or you don't even look forward to occasions or events. You don't go for community events. You don't go for family gatherings when they have Thanksgiving at the end of the year, or because you're afraid of everybody will be asking you, so when are you going to start losing weight, or what is it happening? You don't want to come into contact with any environment that is going to bring your weight as an issue. So that's for you. If this relates to you, then you want to listen to the end. So what are we expecting? What really do I look forward to you having today? I really want you to participate. Put in your questions in the chat, put your comments in the chat. Let's have fun. Take notes if you can. Write down your questions, and just to mention on taking notes, if you don't want to take notes, that's fine. I want you to participate more than even taking the notes, because I will be sending in a replay at the end of the day. So you don't have to really focus on writing things down. But if there's something that you really, some people like me, you retain information better when you write it with your hand. So if that is you, feel free to do that. So write down your questions in the chat and put them at the end of the presentation. We're going to go through them. And at least, this is the most important thing, at least one action point that you're going to start doing today and implement, because like I said earlier, the cost of inaction is more expensive than you taking action. So try to get one action point that you're going to implement today. So I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm so excited today. I don't even know what to say today because my mom is in the house. So my mom is here, and my name is Naomi, those who we've not interacted, and I am a mom of 3 children, a boy and 2 girls. I am a registered dietitian here in the US, but that's not what really gives me the psych or the pull and the push to be able to do this, what I'm doing with you today. Because personally, and I'll talk about that a little bit in the next slides, I have been one who have struggled with weight, and I have struggled with emotional eating to the extent where, because my backdrop of emotional eating was fearing people. Okay, if you know me, you know that I'm a coward to some extent. I just let people do whatever they want to do. I don't want to conflict with people. I don't want to tell people no. And that's one of the cues for emotional eating, because you end up trying to get food as a clutch to the emotions that I should have said no. Why did I not say no? And you don't have a way of putting out the information inside you. And then you end up going to the fridge, and then the fridge becomes your friend. And so the experience I've had with losing weight personally gives me the biggest push. My education and my credentials only give me that science-based perspective and the backup that I need to be able to give you what is really, really needed and what your body needs. I am also a certified weight loss coach, and I am excited to be doing this. So we will get to interact more. If you have any question about who I am and my journey with weight loss, feel free to put those questions in the chat as well. So my story, like I was saying, is what has led me to the push to do this, to be able to present this to you, to be able to help women to lose weight. And I, in the summer, that is around before COVID, I weighed, if you know me, I'm very short. Like I always joke and say I'm shorter than myself. So I am short, and I was weighing 150 something pounds. In Kenya time, because I know a lot of Kenyans use kgs, I was around 70 kgs. For my height, which is 4'11", somebody is 70, that's a lot of kilos. I was having trouble sleeping. I started having hair on my face, and that's really not good. And I was having fibroids. My blood pressure was going through the roof. I started having joint pains, and I knew it was time that I needed help. I needed help myself, even as a dietitian. That time I wasn't credentialed, I was still a student, but I had gone through a lot of schooling in terms of nutrition and dietetics, and I also needed help. So don't feel like it's a weakness if you need help. It's part of the journey. And we will see how also your networks come into helping you to be able to achieve your results. So this is where I am currently. I am at my target weight, and I'm maintaining that. I lost my weight around in 2021. Then currently I haven't been able to go back to the heavy weight that I was. So it's something that is workable. It's not something that is an illusion. Losing weight and sustaining that weight is possible, but we're just gonna need to be able to do things differently than we've done them before. So how are we doing so far? I wanted to kind of come back to the chat and kind of see if we have anything that is going on there. And in the meantime, I also want to let you know that I have a free Facebook group that it's not very, like, it doesn't have a lot of information. Like the last month in June, we've been just putting out information there about managing your blood pressure and what is a healthy blood pressure and what things related to blood pressure, how does it affect your health? And we'll be having topics like that. If you are interested in that, feel free to search this name. I'm gonna put it on the chat, and go ahead and feel free to join that Facebook. It's free, and we'll be having a lot of conversations in there and trainings, and you can ask questions. So I'm gonna put this in the chat. When you join this group, you will be able to get a free ebook. If you already joined, well and good. If you already joined and you didn't get your free ebook on the 5 myths to weight loss and the truths to counter them, let me know. Send me a chat on Facebook, and then I can be able to send you the link to the ebook. Okay. All right. So how are we doing so far? Comment in the chat and tell me, what is one thing that you're realizing? How many kgs are you looking to lose? Comment in the chat and tell me, how many kgs or pounds are you looking to lose by the end of a certain period of time? I don't know what timeline you're giving yourself. All right, keep the chat going. I would like to see your participation, and so let me know how many kgs you're looking to lose. Okay. All right, and then we're gonna continue because I don't want to take too much of your time. All right, so I want to tell you, as we get into the meat of our discussion today about emotional eating, I want to tell you a story. 2 or 3 years ago, and in 2020, I don't know, is that 2 years or 3 years? I'm losing track of time. 2020, I was traveling to Dallas airport, and I had a friend of mine drive me to Dallas because I was traveling. And I had kefir. Those who don't know what is kefir, it's fermented milk, basically, but it's fermented through a certain microorganism. So I put it in the car and I forgot all about it. It was in a bottle. It was in a metallic bottle and I forgot all about it. And it was hot. Those who know Texas, Texas is hot. And in September, we are going to the fall, but it's still hot in Texas. So I forgot the kefir milk, and kefir has live microbes, like it's a probiotic, it has live organisms. So it's something that is alive. And I went into I got into my plane and I forgot everything and I forgot my kefir. So when I traveled back, my friend told me I owe him a lot of money. And it's like, why? Because you broke my windshield. You left your milk in the car and it busted out and broke my windshield. All right, so why did I tell you that story? Because emotions are like that milk. They build, they don't stay in one place. You bottle them down, they build and build, they build, and we bottle them down, we pump them down, but eventually they're gonna blow out. So if you keep your emotions within yourself, and why am I talking about emotional eating? So even as we will see in the presentation, emotional eating, one, eating involves food, and food is directly related to our weight. And even emotions without the food are also directly related to our weight, because a lot of emotions produce a lot of hormones in our bodies. And those hormones that we call stress hormones, they make our weight loss journey very difficult. So those two things are directly, emotions and food are directly related to how we lose weight, how we gain weight, where we maintain our weight. So I wanted to pay attention to those two things. So always remember the kefir story when you're dealing with your emotions and how you're eating. Okay, so understanding emotional eating. What is emotional eating? Emotional eating is when you're using food as a crutch to cope with your emotions rather than eating for functional reasons or just when you're hungry. Stress eating, that's in other words, you're eating to cope with your stress. You're using food as a support system. You're using food as a distraction to emotional triggers. You're really not addressing the underlying factors of your emotions, how you're feeling, the conflicts that you're having in life, things that are triggering stress in your life. It could be anything. So when you find yourself eating just because you want to numb something, a lot of other people maybe will go to alcohol. There are people who will go to other destructive mechanisms. Other people, like some of us, will go to food, and food becomes your friend, food becomes your healing, food becomes your everything. And to say that is, food will become a healing for a short time. It may make you feel good for a short time, but then when you look at the long run and the side effects to that, it's going to be worse. It's going to create more negative effects than even the little comfort that it gave you for a short time. So emotional eating, what are the effects? What it makes you get unhealthy foods, because if you've ever struggled with emotional eating or cravings, you know it doesn't tell you to go get kale. It doesn't tell you to get an apple. Your emotional eating doesn't call for some, at least for some of us, it may tell you to eat a 2-pound steak. So most of the time, it will lead you to foods that are not healthy. Eating unhealthy food, most of the time, they have very little energy and nutrients, but very high in calories. And when you want to lose weight, there's one major thing that has to happen for you to lose weight. And that is what we call a caloric deficit. What is caloric deficit? Caloric deficit is where your body is taking lesser calories than it needs to maintain the weight it has. When you don't create that deficit in your calories, eventually you will not be losing any weight because your body is getting more than it needs. Constant eating due to stress and emotions, it will increase insulin production and stress hormones. When your insulin is high, it prevents your body from breaking down the sugar that is coming in. Just so you know, every carbohydrate that you eat, eventually it's converted to sugar. So whatever you eat that has carbs in it, and carbs are not the enemy. So that's another topic for another day. If you're interested in a masterclass that I did about carbs and the foods that you can eat, let me know and I'll send you the link. But when you eat anything that is carbohydrate, whether healthy or unhealthy, it ends up in sugar. So when you constantly eating, that insulin never goes away, because insulin is the hormone that is produced in response to presence of sugar in your body. Insulin will lead you to having a very high midsection, that's your stomach. It will keep increasing. The more insulin you have, the more glycogen is not going to be produced. So the energy in the liver is never going to be used. So you continue having enlarged liver, and that is very detrimental to your health. So stress hormones are going to be high. They're going to be, and then you're going to have a lot of imbalance in your hormones. When your hormones are imbalanced, it's less likely that you're going to lose any weight. You will keep adding, no matter how you eat, no matter how much you exercise. If your hormones are not balanced, it's going to be very difficult to lose weight. It's also going to, emotional eating is going to affect your sleeping patterns. You're going to have trouble sleeping. You're going to have trouble waking up. You're going to fail to go into deep sleep where your body is going to rest, and you're going to be in trouble. And also you're going to have poor self-image, because when you can't fit in the dresses that you like, you can't fit in the clothes you like. If you have to call somebody, one of your children or one of your nieces, to come and help you tie your shoes because you cannot bend, that's not comfortable. That's not the way you want to live. And it's also, with the poor self-image, it's going to bring a lot of shame and guilt, and you're going to be condemning yourself. But I want to say about this too. If you have a higher weight that you want to lose, it all begins by dealing with the self-image way before you start even losing the weight. Because if you can't like yourself when you're 70 kgs, even when you're 30 kgs, you will not like yourself. So poor self-image, guilt, and shame that has been caused by emotional eating or even weight, no matter what is the cause of the poor image, you have to deal with it way before you even start the journey to losing weight. So, because if you can like yourself at 120 kg, even at 50, you will not like yourself, because it goes beyond just the body looks, because it affects your psychological being, it affects your spiritual life. And if those things are not sorted out and settled way before you begin your journey, it's not going to help you as much. And ultimately, emotional eating will prevent you from losing weight. It will keep you going in terms of gaining and gaining. And I want to give you a quote that I read somewhere. I don't remember the source. It's not mine, but it made a lot of sense. A third of what we eat today keeps us alive and healthy, but 2/3 of the rest, it keeps the doctor working. We are eating way too much in our society today, more than our bodies need. So we need to be able to watch what we eat. But how do we do that? We need to do that in a way that doesn't give us a cycle of guilt, shame, poor self-image, and all that, going back to the cyclic effects of emotional eating. Okay, what's happening? Okay. So how do you recognize emotional eating? So we have these two kinds of hunger. You have the emotional hunger, you have the physical hunger. The emotional hunger is very sudden. All of a sudden you're like, I want to eat ice cream. You don't feel an empty stomach. It's just a specific food that you want to eat. Some people will call it cravings, but it's just more than cravings, because you feel hungry, but when you intuitively feel your stomach, it's not empty. And there's no cues like, yawning, you're not having empty stomach, you don't feel like, and objectively, when you look at the last time you had a meal, it's not even maybe 30 minutes. It's not even maybe 2 hours. So that tells you right now I am dealing with emotional hunger. You're bored or something happens, and the desire for that particular food is tied to a phone call that you received, or is tied to something that is happening at work, something that is happening at home. You start to know I am dealing with emotional hunger, and it's not hungry. That I don't feel hungry. I'm not feeling with the need for my body to be nourished. Then you start knowing, now I'm not dealing with physical hunger. So for the physical hunger, it's gradual. It's not attached to any specific foods. You're hungry, you will sit down and eat. You can eat rice, you can eat potatoes, you can eat anything that is presented to you will satisfy that hunger. But with emotional eating, it doesn't matter what else you eat, you still want to eat that particular food that you want to eat. So that tells you I'm dealing with emotional hunger. And physical hunger just gets certified. It's indicated by hunger cues like yawning, empty stomach. It's been a long time since I ate the last time. So you start knowing I'm dealing with physical hunger. And once you start making those differences, learning your body, then you're able to be in tune with what you eat and what you put in your body. You have to be honest. Some of these things, you have to be your competition. You have to be your own critic. You have to be objective, and you have to be like, okay, Naomi, where I am right now, I'm not doing myself any good. I'm eating just because I'm trying to avoid to deal with a budget, trying to avoid to deal with a difficult relationship. I'm just eating because my body wants something else. And for me not to give my body what it wants, I'm just filling it with food. Honesty to yourself is going to be very important. It's going to be your number one key, because you have to recognize it, and you cannot deal with what you don't recognize. You can recognize challenges in yourself if you're not honest with yourself. So conquering emotional eating, how do I avoid transferring my emotions of work, emotions of relationships, emotions of finances into food, into the fridge? How do I avoid that? So one of the best things that you can do, and just to mention something a little, when I am coaching women, for me, I don't have many languages to use. I use 2 languages, godly advice and nutrition. I cannot speak a different language, and I can't give you what has helped me if I don't tell you about prayer, if I don't tell you about trusting God and putting yourself into God's hands. He created your body. He knows you too well. He knows how your hormones work. He knows whether you're struggling with your economics or it doesn't matter what is going on in your life. He understands it. So who is better suited to help you with your emotional eating than God himself? That's the number one. More than anything else, he's going to help you with the emotional eating. He's going to help you with the self-image, because you have to remember the Bible gives us a blueprint on how we are supposed to handle stress, how we are supposed to handle our emotions, and all these things, relationships, finances. It gives us that. And the Bible says if we are willing and obedient, we shall eat the good of the land. So prayer and just talking to God, putting things in God's hands, is one of the best ways to deal with our emotional eating. Journaling. Some people, you're stressed to a capacity that you can't even pray. Write down your prayers. Sometimes we are stressed because we're trying to avoid friendships. We have to be honest with ourselves and try to handle those things. That if you can do the exercise, you can do the fellowships and friendships, you can do the journaling, you can do the prayer. So alternate coping mechanisms to your stress will take you away from the fridge to better handle your stress, and then that limits the amount of food that you take throughout the day. You also need to engage in some mindful practices. Engage yourself when you're eating. Don't be watching TV while you're eating. I know most of us do that, because what happens when we are watching TV, we remove our thinking and our feeling senses to the TV, and we're just eating. We're not even mindful of how much portions we are taking, because our brain is not there. But when we are feeling the food we are eating, we are chewing, it allows us to slow down. It allows us to chew our food to capacity, because the more you chew your food, the more your food is going to be digested. This is going to be gross, but I'm going to say it. Have you ever eaten, and when you go to the toilet, you see full spinach leaves or full food? It's not been broken down, because we don't take time to chew our food. We have to take the time to chew the food. We have to take the time to slow down. Eating in a group of people, family, friends, is going to also help you in dealing with emotional eating. Because when you're eating with people and you're in a table where it's friendly, there's no stress, you tend to talk when you're eating, or even if you're not talking, you're engaging in an environment that is good, that is relaxing your body. So it's releasing hormones that are healthy, hormones that are relaxing hormones, helping in your digestion. But if you're always eating alone, you're constantly thinking about stressful things when you're eating, you're less likely to have a relaxed body when you're eating. And then if you're eating out or just at home, make sure you portion your food way before you begin, especially if you're going to eat out. Some restaurants will give you like a portion for 3 people in one. Try to get an extra plate. Portion your food before you start eating. and your mind is set. Once I finish this portion, that's it. I'm not adding anything else. That's enough for me. Your body will start telling you the first few times, you need an extra portion. You need something more because you can see the food, but you have to train yourself. The best way is just portion the food and this is my enough portion. And portioning is a big topic. We can do that in a later time. We can do that in the Facebook group. But portioning, once you portion your food before you begin, if you are at a home setting and there's a buffet on the table, put your food in the plate and tell yourself, Naomi, once that portion is over, I'm not going back to the line. That's it. That's enough. I don't need more food, because you have to balance how your body feels and the truth your mind knows. When you put a certain portion in your plate, your mind has known that's enough portion. But your body tries to come in and tell you, you need some more, you need some more meat, you need some more ice cream, you need some this. Now, your brain, you already knew and programmed yourself, I needed this amount of portions, I put that in my plate, I don't need any more. You move on to the next thing. And it's not easy. So, and we will see in the next slide where networks and support comes in. So you have to learn your body also. What are your hunger cues? What are those triggers that you start feeling in your brain when you're dealing with your emotions and you're dealing with stressful environments, and it's trying to call for the emotional hunger and not the physical hunger? One of the biggest ways to start learning your cues is, okay, I had breakfast at 8, 9, why am I still hungry? Something else I need to deal with. It's not because I'm hungry, because I had a whole breakfast at 8, why am I hungry at 9? Some tells you something is different. Then you start recognizing how your body is responding to different situations, how it's responding to different foods. Some food may give you more hunger than others. So you have to learn your body, you have to listen to your hunger cues and make that difference. So that's an exercise you can do by yourself. The bottom line, like I say, is, when is the last time I ate? If you're too busy, you're stressed, and you don't have a lot of, you're like, I don't even know what's happening. I'm too busy, I'm too stressed. Ask yourself, when is the last time I ate? 6 hours ago? Yeah, I might be hungry. I will need something to eat. 2 hours ago? I'm not hungry yet, because your food will take 3 to 4 hours to be fully digested. So if it's only an hour after you ate your breakfast, are you really hungry? I don't think so. So let's learn to detect those hunger cues. And like I said, honesty will be the best practice here. So continuing on conquering our emotional eating, your support networks. Some people will say your network is your worth. What are the people that you interact with? Are people who enable you to eat 5 scoops of ice cream, or just allow you to enjoy 1 scoop of ice cream? Who is enabling you, or who is supporting you in your journey to weight loss? Sometimes it's hard because the people you live with in the same house may be your biggest discouragement. So what do you do that? Let's go back to the initial point, prayer. You can also make the initiative of getting support networks like support groups. I do offer in my Facebook group support and answering questions and dealing with such things like that. Because unless you have a support, nobody works as an island. And if you don't have support in your current networks, people who encourage you to the truth in love and tell you the things that you're doing and encourage you to take the journey that you want to take, it's going to be very hard to get to where you're going. Because if you're swimming against the current 24/7, you're going to be stressed. And again, reverse back to the stress hormones. If you're constantly stressed because of the people that you interact with on a constant basis, you're trying to please people who do not care a wink about your life, it's going to be really difficult. You have to be honest about the networks that you interact with. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you cut people off from your life if they're important people to you, but you have to learn your no and your yes. I know I have 3 kids, and when kids start to learn to talk, the best one they know to say is no, no. And then we tend to discourage them from saying no. But when you look at it in adult life, we learn so many yeses, we forget to use the word no. No is a perfect word that needs to be used in our day and age as adults, because you can do everything. You can be everything to everybody. You have to learn your limits. You have to learn to listen to where God is directing you to be of service, and where you're not, you're going to be able to move on. You're going to be able to do something different. You can be everything to everybody, and learn to know who discourages you, who encourages you, who tells you the truth, who flatters you. You have to be honest. Like, it's very important, because unless you can learn your problem and recognize the issues that you deal with, you can't overcome an enemy that you don't know. You have to know the enemies that you're dealing with. And these enemies is not just human beings. It's the enemy in your brain, because if somebody just tries to bring in discouragement, you have to know what leads you to constantly listen to that person. And so many times it's not about the other person. It's what we are hiding underneath ourselves. Like I told you, mine has been people pleasing. I just want everybody to like me, and I don't want to conflict with anybody. But where does that lead you? It leads you into a very deep problematic hole. So you have to be able to recognize, what is the enemy within me that I'm dealing with, that I need to handle. Deal with your unresolved triggers. Sorry for the typo. Deal with your unresolved stress triggers. If you've not dealt with something that has happened in your past, you're not going to be able to avoid the stress. It's going to be a cycle. It's going to be a cycle. You have to deal with the root causes of the challenges and the stresses that you're dealing with. You have to deal. This may be beyond the scope of the program that I do, but you need support. If you have to be a counselor, so be it. If you have to talk to somebody who is professionally trained to deal with emotional traumas and things like that, you have to do it. Like I said, you can deal with a problem that you're not able to recognize. You have to be able to establish, where am I getting stresses from? Is it just because I don't have enough money, or there's something else that is causing me to go over the cliff? You have to be able to deal with those problems. And then creating a plan to achieve that sustainable weight loss in concurrent, because when you take off something that has been occupying a space, you need to be able to fill that space. If you don't fill that space, you keep going back to the emotional eating. You have to create a plan to healthy eating. You have to create a plan to adequate sleeping. You have to create a plan to a healthy spiritual and mental health. Exercise comes in to help in your mental health, to help in your body functions, to helping in your hormones release and managing all the blood pressure, because blood pressure will be very key in also helping your body organs to function in an optimal way. Let me see, what time is it, just to make sure we are on the right time. Okay. All right, so we still have some good time. So far, how are we doing? Any questions that you think it's going to catch you before we get there? Let me see if there's anything in the chat that I need to address. All right, somebody wants to lose 5 kgs. Emotional eating is when you can get that specific food out of your mind. Yeah, that's really good. You can get it out. And until I eat it, I can't get it out. I can't get it out. You can. We can. Our body is able to conquer that. We have to start. The mindset we have, I always give an example of when you're making omelets, you need eggs, you need spinach or whatever vegetables you have, you need some oil, you need a saucepan, you need the heat. But if you're making an omelet and you get a blender, you're not gonna get an omelet. You're gonna get something totally different. So my point here is your mindset, it is a prism, or the object that you see everything in the world. And your mindset is the tool that you use to create whatever you want. If you're having a negative mindset, you're going to be having a lot of troubles creating sustainable weight loss that you need. So you can change it. You have to begin from a point of, I can do this. And remember, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So we can. Okay, so it's possible, and we are able to say no. So this is me in 2019. This is me this year. I've lost 155 to 120, around 35 pounds so far. So it's possible. I worked with this lady for around 6 months, and she was able to lose over 17 kgs. By the time I was taking this photo, she had lost 17 kgs. And you can see the difference from yourself. This is not a structured photo from the internet. This is a real life person. And it's possible to get to the target goal. The problem is, or the challenge would be, where is your mindset? Remember, always remember the omelet with a blender. You can make an omelet from a blender. You have to get a saucepan, a heat. You have to get the oil. You have to get the onions, vegetables, and everything, and cook them. But if you're putting them in a blender, you're getting something completely different. That's not an omelet. So you have to have a mindset that gives you the product that you need. And I'll always say, don't leave the mindset of the person you had today. Leave the mindset of the person you want to be tomorrow. You want to lose 5 kgs. What is the mindset of a person who is wanting to lose 5 kgs? That's a mindset you need to have. So this is just testimonials of other people that I've worked with in the last few months, and they were able to see results. One has lost 5 kgs, one has lost 3 kgs. It's possible. What is the number that you want to lose? The year is still early. We still just crossed the midpoint of this year. You still have a good time to keep going with your results. So at this point, I would like to kind of just present what I would encourage you to join. I have an offer that so my invitation is to you to make your goals a priority. You want to be able to make your goals a priority, because weight loss, your eating capacities, how you eat, it's going to be a projection of how you can be productive, both spiritually, physically, and even socially, because your food is it's your fuel. Think of your car, those who can or drive. If you're going to get water, water is good. Nobody says water is bad. Right? We all need water. Our bodies need water. But if you take water and put it in your car as fuel, it's not going to go. It's going to crash. It's the same way. Your body, there's a lot of things we can feed our bodies. But how does our body function best? By giving it the best food it can be. So your body will thank you when you feed it correctly. And it's not just the food itself. It's also, what am I feeding in my mind? How am I dealing with my stress? How am I dealing with those emotions and those things that are coming in? I have a cohort, I have a program that is beginning in September, and I do have a current wait list. I'm not starting the program now. So it's beginning somewhere mid-September. And if you're looking to join that program, you will be making a wise decision, because it's going to provide support. We're going to discuss all these things like emotional eating. What is a biblical mindset for weight loss? What is a biblical approach to eating? And what is a biblical approach to my weight? Because if I don't look things in a positive and in a building way, I'm going to be cutting myself below the belt. I am going to be discouraging or putting a limit to what I can be when I'm trying to be that. So it's a 12-week coaching program starting in September. I do have a link. I'm going to put the link in the chat in a minute. And then if you're interested, click to that link and join the weight loss. Make sure you scroll all the way down to be able to see the link. So let me go ahead and put that into the chat. So I'm going to put this link in the chat. If you're interested in joining the weight loss, feel free to go ahead and start clicking that link as I talk about what really the program is all about. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so it's a 12-week coaching program. It fosters community. It increases learning potential, and we also learn the encouragement. We become a support group to each other. And my goal is to help you achieve your weight loss goals, transform your health through science-based nutrition principles from a biblical worldview. You keep the weight off in the long term while you live your life without dieting, strenuous exercise, or even medications or pills. So that's my goal. Exercise is great, but you don't need to exercise ridiculously to achieve weight loss. So that's my goal, to just help you through a biblical worldview, through nutrition-based principles, to be able to lose your weight, sustain it, and live it out for the long run. So I offer one-on-one bi-weekly sessions. So we meet every month twice. We also have group classes on a weekly basis. And then within the one-on-one meetings, I help you come up with an individual meal plan that you're able to create yourself and that you can sustain within the foods that you like to eat, or the foods available to you in your culture and whatever that is around you. And you also get a free membership to a private Facebook group, not the public one, where I dive into specific questions, I dive into your progress, and we dive into specific trainings. So that, and we really, really make it personal. If you're ready to get started, please click on that link and join the waitlist. Begins in September. I only have 10 slots available at this point. So you want to be able to get your slot as before time expires. And so My question to you again is, are you tired of cycles of never ending weight? Are you tired of the fatigue? Are you tired of changing of your wardrobe every month? The store lady knows you. She's able to know which dress you're going to go for next. The pain in your joints and your body is never ending. You're struggling with maintaining your blood pressure. You're struggling with maintaining your blood sugars. You're feeling guilty and shame has become your friend in and out. And you're avoiding people. You're avoiding places to go. You don't meet any groups that you used to meet before because you don't like the person you are. You don't like the things that have become of you. Those are things that we're going to address. This program is going to give you a platform to kind of get those solutions, become the driver of your weight loss success, and see the results. And long term, you're able to use that knowledge for the rest of your life, really, to be able to manage your plate. I don't do dieting. I like food. I don't do strenuous, I don't do medication. I don't do strenuous exercise. And you're able to sustain that to the end until, I don't know how many years God will give us. So if this sounds like you, this sounds like you can relate with all this fatigue and everything, go ahead and click that link, put yourself in the weight loss. And then once you're in the wait list, I'll go ahead and give you a call or a chat, and then we can talk one-on-one and see what are your specific goals, what are your specific challenges, what is it that we can talk about or deal with that will give you the best cutting edge to your weight loss success. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Who is bold enough to open their camera and unmute themselves and ask the questions or say something?
Kindly check the chat, Naomi.
Yes, that's what I'm checking right now. All right, so trying to lose 40 pounds in overall. I weigh 90, my ideal is 60, so we have 30 kgs to go. That's very possible. We can get there. I'm currently 76 and I'm trying to get to 60. That's very possible. We just need to get to it. Planning to lose 7 kgs. Definition says it all. I tend to have a lot of cravings when stressed up. That sounds right. We tend to deal with those things. It's possible. And those fatigue, the inability, when you feel defeated all the time, like, I just want to get out of this cycle. I just want to get out of this thing. We deal with that. And it will be my pleasure to kind of take us all through into that process. And when you don't want to deal with the group part of it, we have the one-on-one sessions twice every month. You just need to be able to show up. And then we can walk through those steps, through those challenges, and be able to get on the other side. Like I told you, support is extremely important because one, whether you like it or not, unless you're vulnerable to your challenges, you will never defeat what you're struggling with. There's a Swahili saying, by the way, yesterday was Swahili National Day. So I don't know, whoever knows Swahili, we can celebrate that. I'm really sorry for those who don't know Swahili. I'll teach you one word or two there if we ever meet. That there's a Swahili saying, mficha uchi azai. What means that is if a mother is pregnant and she's going to have labor and she closes her legs, she's not opening herself to the delivery process, she's going to kill that baby. Do we agree? So unless you face your challenge head on, you're not going to be able to handle that challenge. You need to be able to be honest with yourself and handle those challenges and just kind of say, you know what, you're not going, whatever you hide eats you more than what you've exposed. When you expose something, it loses its power. So the challenges that bring you to stress eating, you have to be able to hit them head on. Inflammation, yeah, a lot of weight will lead to inflammation. Reducing that weight, just 5% of your normal body weight, will a lot help in inflammation. Like I said before, when I was at my heaviest, I started having my fingers, like I could feel the bones to my fingers. When I started losing my weight, it disappeared. When I'm eating badly, because you're living in the world, and I live in circles where people like to eat. I go to a Baptist church where people eat all the time. We are surrounded with food. Sometimes you will catch yourself eating badly. I'm not going to say you're going to be squeaky clean the entire of your life. That's not how it's going to be. I will be lying to you if I tell you that. But learning to recognize that and deal with it and handle it. When I start eating badly, I'm able to tell with how my body feels. I feel sick. And sometimes you'll feel sick to your stomach when you're giving your body what is not healthy. So it's possible, and we are able to, we can bring that in. So it's a good point. In a specific food out of your mind. Yes, I am looking to lose 50 pounds. It says masterclass. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me just pull that up and see what the problem is. Let me pull the correct link. All right. All right, let me know if this one works better. So, yes, Gladys is one of the ladies we worked with in the previous group, and she lost 9 kgs. We're still trying to work on with her to kind of get to our target goal. So it's possible. She's here. I don't know if Gladys, you're strong enough and courageous enough to say 1 or 2 things. That would be great. If not, that's perfectly okay as well. Not a big deal. Any questions? Dorothy, was there a specific thing I didn't pull from the chart you wanted me to pull through? Oh, okay. Gladys is at work. That's okay. Thank you, Gladys. All right. Any questions? Any questions about the discussion? You had something that was not clear that you want to clarify? You can write it. You don't have to unmute yourself if you don't want to.
What if you're having weird cravings? Would that be emotional, or would that be maybe your body needs something?
So with weird cravings, you have to be able to do a triage. You know what's a triage? Like you go to the hospital and they're trying to see, okay, what is causing this? If you're having crazy cravings, one, from a platform, when your body is healthy and your mind is healthy, you shouldn't be having too much cravings, unless for women, when you're having your time of the month, your periods, it could lead to that because of the hormonal imbalance at that particular time. That's understood. But on a normal day, when you're having cravings and you know it's not related to my menses, you need to be able to ask yourself, what is going on? And even when you have your menses and your body is on the overall 80% on a healthy eating trajectory, your cravings tends to be less than when you're not eating healthy. So you have to ask yourself, why am I having this craving? Is it attached to a particular activity? Somebody I talked to, they messed my head up and now I'm craving something. Or am I trying to avoid to deal with something? I've been trying to do my budget for the last 3 days. Am I just craving things because I'm trying to avoid to deal with something that I really need to deal with? Or am I bored? Are you lonely? Are you missing connection, human connection? Are you trying to avoid to do something? You have to do that exegesis and know, why am I having these crazy cravings? Because if you just satisfy the cravings, then you will never deal with the underlying cause. And if you don't deal with the underlying cause, then it gives you into that spiral. And always remember, being honest with yourself is going to be painful. You might cry in the process, but it's the only way you're going to get to the other side. Because some of the reasons why we're having the cravings are not really so nice. And we don't want to deal with those parts that are not so nice. So we want to be like, I'm okay, but am I dealing with the root cause? So I can't really say it's purely just craving a certain food or it's emotional. You have to look at what is surrounding it. Are you having enough sleep? Because when you're not having enough sleep, your body is everywhere and it's just going to crave things that it's not supposed to crave because it's trying to get a balance for itself. So it could be a lot of things. And that's the things we dive into the specific one-on-one meetings and see, okay, what is a problem or what is a challenge that I need to be addressing at this point? Cravings that are nonstop, it's not normal. It's not a healthy pattern of life. You need to be able to just address things, and you also need to be able to stay without craving one particular food. It means your body is in balance in a way at some point. I hope that answers somehow. Okay, So Anastasia, you came in late. Don't worry. This video is going to be shared because if I start recapping everything, I'm going to keep everybody behind. So I'm going to send a replay to everybody who had registered for the class. So don't worry, you will have this video in your email, probably, if not the end of today, by tomorrow, you should be able to have it in your emails. Yes, so Stephanie, once you join the wait list, we're going to have a talk and discuss all those things and address everything. So that's okay. Don't worry about it. Once just click in and join the wait list, and then we can address those specific things about the program. And then we will start just working through it. Between now and September, we'll be talking a lot about just weight loss and things surrounding weight loss in the Facebook group. So if you hadn't joined the Facebook group, please go ahead. Let me see if I can pull. I don't have the link with me. I will type the name again here, and then just go ahead and look for that Facebook group and join, and we'll discuss more. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so Anastasia, don't worry, I'll be sending the link. Any other question? So we have come to the close of the hour. And thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, everybody for coming in. If you have any questions beyond this and you don't want to share them, just go ahead and send me a Facebook message. If you don't have Facebook, go to the link that you receive and just use that, respond to those messages, and then I can respond to your questions. And I'll be sending the link shortly. After it downloads, it takes a while to kind of download down into the storage, and then I'll be able to send it to everybody. So thank you so much for coming, and it was fun. I enjoyed it all, and God bless you. And one thing, remember to get one thing. Okay, before we go, type in the chat and tell me what is the one thing you're going to pick from today that is going to jumpstart your journey to overcoming emotional eating. Just text and type and tell me, what is it? One thing that you're going to start doing today. Remember, if you forget everything else, just pick one thing, just one thing that you're going to be doing. Otherwise, feel free to log out at leisure, and looking forward to meeting some days soon. Thank you. All right. Bye, everybody.